Beneath only a few meters of clear water off southern Greece lies the plan of an entire ancient town. Its streets still connect homes, courtyards, burial places, and public spaces built more than 5,000 years ago, but the inhabitants left no surviving account explaining why their settlement disappeared beneath the sea. Was Pavlopetri destroyed suddenly, or did the water consume it generation by generation? Before this investigation ends, we will reconstruct the town, follow the evidence hidden in its streets, and uncover why archaeologists are now racing to protect it from a second disappearance. From the surface, Pavlopetri can appear almost ordinary. The water is shallow, the shoreline is bright, the island of Elefonisos lies nearby, separated from the southern Peloponnese by a narrow channel. But below the waves, straight lines interrupt the natural seabed. Walls meet at corners, rooms connect to courtyards, passageways continue toward streets. Burial structures lie beside the settlement. These are not random formations shaped by currents. They are the surviving foundations of a town where people once slept, worked, traded, worshipped, stored food, raised families, and buried their dead. The site lies near Viglafia in Laconia, opposite Elefonisos. Greek archaeological research has mapped building complexes, streets, and funerary remains across an area exceeding 9,000 square meters, while later surveys recorded a substantially broader spread of architecture. The water covering much of the site is only approximately 1 to 4 meters deep. That shallow depth is one reason the settlement is so visually extraordinary. Divers and snorkelers can move directly above an ancient urban plan without descending into darkness. Sunlight reaches the remains. Sand shifts across walls that were constructed thousands of years ago. Fish move through rooms that once belonged to human families. The submerged ruins were identified in 1967 by oceanographer Nicholas Fleming. 1 year later, a University of Cambridge team surveyed the settlement over 6 weeks using a fixed grid and measuring tapes. Working before modern underwater photogrammetry, the researchers produced the first detailed plan by recording walls beneath the sea manually. Their work revealed a prehistoric settlement thought at the time to be largely Mycenaean. Pottery, stone tools, and a bronze figurine suggested activity stretching across the Bronze Age. Yet after the 1968 survey, systematic work at Pavlopetri largely stopped for decades. The town remained underwater, exposed to currents, shifting sediment, anchors, pollution, and possible looting. Its importance was recognized, but its full extent and chronology was still uncertain. Then in 2009, Greek and British researchers returned. The Ephorate of Underwater Antiquities, the Hellenic Centre for Marine Research, and the University of Nottingham began a collaborative project designed to answer 3 fundamental questions. When was Pavlopetri occupied? What role did it serve? And how did the settlement become submerged? The new team did not simply photograph the ruins, they measured them digitally. Surveyors combined land-based positioning systems, sonar, underwater photography, and 3-dimensional modeling. Each wall could be positioned accurately. Each architectural block could be compared with the old survey. Features hidden by sand or overlooked in the 1960s began appearing. During the 2009 season, researchers recorded the previously known area and identified more than 9,000 square meters of additional buildings. Among the discoveries were a large rectangular hall, another street lined with structures, new stone-built graves, and a burial inside a large ceramic vessel. In 2010, the team recorded approximately 40,000 square meters of previously known architecture and more than 10,000 square meters of additional structures. They identified roof tiles, street gutters, and large storage vessels. The settlement was no longer a small cluster of seaside homes. It was an organized urban community with infrastructure, storage, burial traditions, and multiple periods of occupation. For archaeologists, Pavlopetri offers something extremely rare. Most ancient towns continued to be occupied. Later, residents demolished walls, built over streets, reused stone, or ploughed through earlier layers. Pavlopetri was sealed beneath the sea. Its buildings collapsed, but the basic plan remained recognizable. A street could still be followed. A doorway could still be recognized. A courtyard could still be placed beside the rooms surrounding it. This was not merely a collection of artifacts, it was a frozen map of community life. Early researchers initially associated most of the settlement with the Mycenaean period, roughly the second millennium before the Common Era. But later, pottery expanded the timeline dramatically. Materials recovered during modern survey confirmed Mycenaean occupation and indicated activity throughout the Bronze Age. Pottery also suggested human presence as early as approximately 3500 before the Common Era, while other finds point to activity during the final Neolithic period. That makes Pavlopetri more than 5,000 years old. The Greek Ministry of Culture reports material from the late Neolithic period through the Bronze Age, along with pottery from later Greek and Byzantine periods. Those later objects do not necessarily mean the town remained intact and inhabited continuously after submergence. They demonstrate that people continued moving through, using, or visiting the wider coastal zone over many centuries. This is why the phrase 5,000 years underwater would be misleading. The settlement itself is more than 5,000 years old, but researchers are still reconstructing when individual parts sank and whether submergence happened through one catastrophe or several stages. Pavlopetri may have lived through repeated cycles of construction, damage, rebuilding, coastline movement, and eventual abandonment. Its oldest pottery tells us when people were there. It does not by itself tell us when the sea arrived. The most dramatic explanation is a sudden earthquake. Southern Greece is tectonically active. Earth movement can lower coastal land, trigger flooding, reshape shorelines, or expose settlements to destructive waves. A powerful event could have damaged buildings and changed the elevation of the coast, but the evidence does not yet establish one single earthquake as the complete explanation for Pavlopetri's submergence. Another possibility is gradual relative sea level change. The land may have subsided over time, sea level may have risen, storms may have damaged shoreline defenses and buildings. Repeated seismic events may have accelerated the process. Different parts of the settlement could have been flooded at different times. A family living near the shore might first have noticed saltwater reaching wells or low streets. Later generations may have retreated toward higher ground. Buildings could have been abandoned one block at a time. No conclusive evidence has confirmed that Pavlopetri disappeared during one cinematic night. The truth may be slower and more disturbing. The inhabitants may have watched their community becoming increasingly impossible to save. Archaeologists are studying the ancient coastline, sediment, structures, and occupation layers to understand the process. But there is another missing piece. We do not possess a surviving written account from Pavlopetri's residents. No local chronicle records the final evacuation. No tablet describes houses being abandoned. The buildings remain, the voices do not. Pavlopetri survived thousands of years beneath shallow water, but survival is not guaranteed. The United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization has identified threats, including pollution, anchoring, looting, damage from shipping, and proposed infrastructure. In 2015, the site was placed on the 2016 World Monuments Watch to draw attention to the need for protection. An anchor can destroy a wall that survived since the Bronze Age. Propeller turbulence can disturb sediment and expose fragile surfaces. Looting removes objects from their context, turning evidence into decoration and permanently breaking the relationship between an artifact and the place where it was used. Even careless tourism can accelerate deterioration. The town was first lost to the sea. Now it risks being lost to modern activity. Digital recording offers one form of protection. University researchers have developed highly accurate photorealistic three-dimensional models of Pavlopetri. These models allow archaeologists to study architecture, compare changes, and preserve a detailed record even as natural and human forces continue affecting the ruins. But a model is not the town. Documentation can record destruction. It cannot always reverse it. The confirmed facts are remarkable. Pavlopetri lies beneath shallow water off southern Laconia, opposite Elafonisos. The ruins were identified in 1967 and first mapped extensively in 1968. Researchers documented buildings, courtyards, streets, chamber tombs, and stone-lined graves. Modern investigations beginning in 2009 revealed thousands of square meters of additional architecture, new streets, storage vessels, roof tiles, gutters, and further burials. Pottery shows activity extending back more than 5,000 years. What remains unknown is equally powerful. Researchers have not established the exact identity of the town's inhabitants. They do not possess a surviving account of its final days. The complete sequence of seismic activity, coastal subsidence, sea level change, and abandonment has not been conclusively reconstructed. Pavlopetri is often called a lost city, but it was never completely lost. Its residents left behind the geometry of their lives. A street turning beside a house, a courtyard opening toward another room, a gutter carrying water, a grave placed close to home. The sea removed roofs, doors, voices, and names. It did not erase the plan. Thousands of years later, sunlight still reaches the streets. Divers can still follow them, and every stone asks the same unanswered question. Did the people of Pavlopetri flee from one sudden disaster, or did they remain until the rising water made their home impossible? The world's oldest known submerged town survives because the sea concealed it. Its future now depends on whether humanity can protect what the sea left behind. If this investigation moved you, subscribe to Mysterious Crime, like this video, share it with someone who loves documentaries, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next investigation. Every mystery has a story.